I recently bought a Makita MLT100N table saw, for which I did some research, and I was led to believe that there were a number of flaws with this saw and some improvements could be made. I'd like to take this opportunity just to explain a little bit about some of the improvements that I've made, which I think make this saw a pretty handy tool. One of the first things that I did realise from doing the research on the internet was, for a start, these slots, T-slots, are very much narrower than other brands of saw that are perhaps available in the United States and Europe. These ones here are about 12.5 millimeters. Now, I was aware that the miter gauge and these slots were quite slack together, and we can demonstrate that with this movement. Even though you screw the thing down, you still have that slap, so you're going to get a 1 or 2 degree difference in accuracy on that. I haven't solved this particular problem at this stage, but I will, so we'll get rid of that. One of the other things that happened, it's supplied with this guard, which in itself is not too bad, but as a workable saw, guards get in the way. And I was planning to construct a crosscut sled, and so this was taken off and can be discarded. Oh, I banged my head on the shed. What I first did is to change the riving knife, and the riving knife is now this shape and still fits the saw. It's adjustable anyway. The reason for this is when you use a sled, the original riving knife comes up over the top of this blade and you can't get it through, so because you can't cut any higher than that. So that was another modification. The most important one is probably this fence. The fence that they supply is, I don't know if you can see that, just this little aluminium thing. I managed to make this and incorporate the existing fence with these guards. I also put an aluminium angle on there to lock it in position when it gets locked down, a la here. And if we go around this way, this actually is our 0 position, and it's marked on this measure here, and we can go out, and it's reasonably accurate. You would still want to measure between the inside and here with a straight edge, an accurate straight edge, to get great cuts. Another modification I did was to this plate. This is another plate made of very thin MDF, 2 or 3 millimeters thick. It's a little bit more stable than the original plastic one, because the original plastic one had a gap up here, and it moves. You can see that does move, but it doesn't appear to affect the operation of the saw. To get the best out of this saw, I constructed this crosscut sled. There are many of these things on the internet, so I just picked a particular design that looked okay to me, and it's got a cover over here for the blade. I put a stop on the end here with a spacer so that it can't go any further than that, but that's enough to cut whatever you want to do. I have a guard over the top with some clear perspex or acrylic sheeting on there to protect my face from chips coming up when I'm doing cross cutting. And I also built a table for it with some movable wheels with stoppers on them so that we can move it around. The saw itself is pretty powerful. and it's a great little saw for the money. But these improvements make it a far more workable saw. And my next project will be to actually make a miter jig so that I can cut proper miters on it. And I think I'll have a pretty serviceable saw. I've used it for ripping, and ripping is fine with the new guard, fence guard, and this sled will improve at no end. So anybody that's interested in buying these things, you know, as I say, for the money they're not too bad, but the quality's suffered a little bit. Motor is very powerful, and it'll probably do everything that the home handyman wants to do with these improvements. One thing I will stress, of course, is that if you do have to make all these improvements, you probably will void the warranty. And also this is probably a no-no from a health and safety point of view, but the saw is almost useless if you can't use a sled on it. So that's only the provisos that I'd have. So I hope that you've been informed a little bit about some of the modifications you can do if you are contemplating purchasing a saw like this. And thank you for watching. I will point out that I am no way affiliated with Makita or any other company. I don't get paid for this. It's just an informative session and my personal opinion. Thank you.